Hello, I'm Pauline Tamesis, Resident Coordinator of the United Nations in Cambodia. It's an honor to join the 75th anniversary celebrations of the United Nations in the Philippines, and a double honor to speak alongside Mrs. Berna Romulo Puyat, representing the late Ambassador Carlos P. Romulo, Ms. Marilyn Manuel, and Ms. Heidi Mendoza, all extraordinary Filipinos who served the United Nations. To be counted among these leaders is a privilege, and with privilege comes responsibility. Let me translate that responsibility in action by sharing what I've learned about leadership in the United Nations in 3 words: inspiration, courage, humility. Mr. Romulo himself was my inspiration to work for the UN. From his personal memoirs, I learned about how he gave voice to the voiceless millions and showed how a small man from a small nation could stand up to colonial powers in creating a less unequal United Nations. But as a founding father of the UN, Mr. Romulo shaped an institution led by men. I was fortunate to have joined the United Nations when it was mobilizing for the 4th World Conference on Women in Beijing. I worked with outstanding women leaders who became early role models. One of them was Irene Santiago. At that time, Irene was the convener of the NGO Forum on Women, where I worked as a volunteer. From Irene, I learned the value of grit, negotiation, and the power of networks. Irene single-handedly organized a 30,000-strong NGO forum alongside the UN conference, which demonstrated how the power of women, when collectively mobilized, can alter the course of history. Irene and the women activists taught me courage. To change how people believe, behave, and decide, you need to be ready to challenge power. And to do that, you need courage and purpose. Inspiration, courage with purpose, and finally, humility. Countless more Filipinos serve the United Nations around the world with the highest degree of professionalism, integrity, and respect for human rights. Many of them work in the UN without recognition, seniority, or titles. From them, I learned the value of humility. And with humility, the ability to adapt and reinvent ourselves according to the need of the time. I am able to serve as the Secretary General's representative in Cambodia because of the inspiration, courage, and humility that I have learned from Filipinos and Filipinas who have come before me in the UN. These leadership values are important now more than ever, as today we find ourselves in our own 1945 moment. The COVID-19 pandemic has turned the world upside down as we know it. To navigate this uncertainty and to turn the crisis into an opportunity, we need leadership that instills courage to act, make hard choices, and persevere in the long road ahead. We need leadership that fosters humility and the willingness to learn from mistakes. We also need leadership that encourages innovation. Looking to the future and in shaping a better new normal in a post-COVID world, I am convinced that the next generation of Filipina and Filipino leaders, be it inside the UN or in other platforms, will thrive because we know how to do more with the little that we have. We network, we mobilize, we challenge power and hold them accountable. We adapt and persevere. We don't let what we lack limit what we can achieve. This is our legacy in the United Nations. Maraming salamat po.